up?
Sir, I think we got a four-wheeler on the hill back here.
Alright, so mark point down.
Directly behind us at our 6 o'clock.
Approximately 2:40 in the morning, the ODO knocked on the door, said that there was a 25-year-old female that was on an ATV and she was reported missing.
Alright, we're right there right now.
There's a bear. I'm sorry.
Oh, is it?
I'm looking at a bear right now.
We're trying to figure out where the individual survivor is. As far as the FLIR, or the forward-looking infrared, the rescue swimmers looking for heat signatures. Sultry Cove, and just it being Alaska in general, there's tons of wildlife out there. We're picking up bears constantly. The heat blooms look like people at a distance, but usually you can see their little ears poking out, so it's like, all right, that's not what we're looking for, unless our 25-year-old female has gigantic ears and weighs 1,200 pounds, which generally just isn't the case.
At our 6 o'clock, there's something. It was really hot.
Yeah, keep looking for it. See, it's that's definitely a bear.
Bear.
Threats to the survivor are generally environmental in Alaska. You've got hazardous animals out there, such as bears. They usually need some reason to be provoked. However, you don't want to surprise a sleeping mammal that is 1,000 pounds heavier than you. So we were concerned that we do need to get this survivor out of there. We're thinking she's probably cold, probably wet. It doesn't sound like she's experienced in the area, so she may be wearing cotton, bice wool. It just makes time a critical component about extracting a survivor from that situation.
Even though it's warm, you can still get freaking hypothermia out here. Yep.
Or eaten by a bear.
Man, the visibility keeps getting better and better the higher that sun gets. If nothing else, if she's out there, at least this is like a huge morale deal. Will to survive. Sunlight, helicopters.
There's one set of tracks that goes off to the left into the woods. But I don't know why she would do that. It's on the bank.
Well, let's find her and ask her. That trail in the woods is right down there. It's 3 o'clock right now.
We searched for a long time. We searched in the same places 6 to 10 times over.
That's 12 o'clock low. That's just a reflection off a puddle.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can find this person. It's really pissing me off that we can't find a four-wheeler, you know? Like, I feel like that means we're just not looking in the right spot.
At this time, we were getting close to our bag-out time as a crew. I believe the pilots had close to 8 hours on them, and that's the point where you have to cut it off, regardless if you want to go or not.
I wanted to search the road real well, I wanted to search the river real well, and we did that. If she's out here and alive, I guarantee you we've flown over her.
Yeah, I feel like we've covered every area.
Well, I think my brain is spent from searching. Gonna head back? Yep.
The time goes on and it gets harder and harder to stay focused, to really execute what we want to as planned and as we've been trained. So we finish up our last hour of searching. We know we're tired. We know we're not as effective as we were without 7.5 hours of flight time on us. We need relief.
I feel like we really scraped a lot of that basin. That was before we got tired, too.
It was still nighttime.
No, I was tired.
The other plane's gonna take off as we're landing, and I am certain that they're gonna find this person. It's getting sunnier, the search conditions are getting better, it's warming up, and the Alaska State Troopers are out there in force.
Pretty much on scene, guys. Slow down a little bit, coming down.
Roger. All right, guys, so just a pass down from the previous crew there. The troopers are out there, kind of working the riverbeds there. But the gal was wearing a black sweatshirt, blue jeans, and it's a green ATV.
I got woken up around 5 o'clock. There had been a crew flying all night. They needed a replacement to continue on the search.
Searches are always tough, but at least we can see down into it.
It's gorgeous. Saw a bear over there, so that's not good.
Well, that's just me thinking, but
If you're going to get lost, this kind of seems like the place that you would get lost at because it's a nice open flat area.
yeah.
You could easily get on the wrong track.
There's fresh tracks directly below us. Here they are.
Headed back towards the river.
Yep, I was going to put that out the right side and just kind of go along that way.
Because it's overland, it's going to be a little bit different in how we approach the search. We're not using an actual search pattern. We're kind of picking out our own technique of how we want to cover the ground.
Coast Guard helicopter. We have multiple four-wheeler tracks going to and from the hillside. which is which.
The Alaska State Troopers had actually found fresh tracks from the ATV. Noticed that they had gotten stuck several times. So we got down and tried to follow those tracks.
There's like four-wheeler tracks going to the left and to the right. So they should be right over here then. There's no place around here.
This morning we received a call that there was a missing four-wheeler down at Saltry Pass.
Right there at 3 o'clock, there's something. All right, let's follow this slough back. A little bit, sir. I am pretty sure I saw a quad. All right, so keep rolling, sir, keep rolling. Almost underneath us. Right there. There's the quad. There's the quad. Nice quad.
Was the four-wheeler upright?
It looked like it was upright. She just went straight into the water and probably sunk.
We searched for 2 hours, and I spotted the quad first. And then we kind of tracked from the quad, kind of following footsteps, kind of going in the direction where we think maybe she went, just out of common sense.
So she could have gone anywhere from this point.
Yeah. I would think that she would follow the river down.
So let's follow that point, let's follow that river.
We did multiple searches at that point. The footsteps seemed to be following the river downstream. We kind of honed in our search up and down the river, and then at that point we had tried a parallel search, just a different search, just to maybe see if she was in a completely different area.
The question is, when did she get stuck there? When did she start walking? Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to think she would follow the stream all the way out.
It sounds like she would go to higher ground, because I wouldn't want to be wet. You know that being wet equals death, right?
Once we found the ATV, it's kind of a small victory. We've at least found something, and kind of motivates us again to keep the search going. Any search, if you find the vehicle, you're hoping the survivor is going to be close by.
Where would I go if I was lost? Yeah, exactly.
See this mud off the right?
I do.
Are there human footprints, or those are all prints?
I can't really tell, sir.
Gotta come down a little bit.
Sir, off to our left, I see somebody waving their arms. About probably a mile. Right at our 12 o'clock now.
Way out there?
Yeah, way out there.
By that tree.
There you are, there you are.
Yeah.
Got her. Something.
It was like a breath of fresh air. Seeing her from the helicopter, when you find her, the assessment there that she's pretty okay.
Yeah, that's her.
I'm gonna put her down on the spot over here.
We were able to land, and the flight mech and I got out, went up to her. Told her it was going to be okay. She was really scared. She was wet, I assume from probably walking through the rivers, which she shouldn't have done, but she did. And she was crying. When we got her into the helo, we sat her in the troop seat and gave her blankets, got her buckled up, comfortable, and we flew back to Kodiak.
She was definitely soaked, and she was shivering. She was pretty cold. She was laughing and crying at the same time. I think she was pretty happy to see us, and she was pretty happy to get out of there. It's a very short transit back to the air station.
4 landing checklist abbreviated.
Yeah.
It feels pretty good when a survivor is able to talk to you and just, able to say thank you. I'm just glad that that she was okay.
What are you doing, man? Just a little on the cold side, are you? Okay, but that's all right. We're gonna have the ambulances on the way. They'll be here in a few minutes. We'll get you in there, okay?
Oh, thank you guys so much. I'm so glad to be out of
Oh,
there.
we're so glad you're here. So it's good. You gotta thank these guys over here.
Yeah. I can't think of it.
All right, yeah, medics are here. Yeah, I can feel how cold you are.
Yeah. Her words are closure for me, just saying basically thank you. That's what she said, thank you. So it kind of just seals in the rescue.
We're inspecting the
The motor vessel took a rogue wave, and we have severe injuries to 3 crew members aboard the vessel.
Swarmer's going down.
The flight surgeon's concern is that these guys could lose their legs if we don't get them to medical care as quick as we can.
Keep a handhold on him. I got him, sir.
All right, so I think you guys all have the picture of what's going on. The vessel, it took some heavy rolls, probably in 30 or 40 footers. It's been over 24 hours. You got compound fractures, heavy lacerations, possible head injuries. The motor vessel took a rogue wave, and we have severe injuries to 3 crew members aboard the vessel. They were inside the cabin, the rogue wave hit, and they were launched across the cabin, impacted the wall on the other side. So we're gonna send 2 H-60s on this one. The severity of the injuries also call for a flight surgeon to go with us. The problems you have is you got the 3 folks, like we talked about, pretty bad shape. So you're gonna take the dock, you're gonna take 2 swimmers, 2 helicopters. One's gonna deliver 2 folks plus 2 litters, then the other helicopter's gonna pull in, deliver another rescue swimmer and another litter.
And we're planning on rendezvousing with them today at the 200 nautical mile point. So 200 nautical miles for the H-60 is about an hour and 40-minute flight, which will allow us to get on scene and have 30 minutes to an hour of hover time per aircraft. The captain's really pushing hard through big seas, trying to close as much distance as he can towards that 200 nautical mile rendezvous point. Obviously, the flight surgeon's concern is that these guys could lose their legs if we don't get them to medical care as quick as we can.
C-130s will provide cover the whole way for you, just up high. Guys, I want you to hang on scene in orbit too the entire time. You can pass comms back, anything they need, all that stuff. Questions?
Oh, yes, sir.
All right, be safe.
C-130 does a couple of different things for us. The biggest thing it can do is get on scene first, determine the best winds when we're en route. But the other thing they do for us is they can start talking to the vessel and give them an idea of how we want to conduct the evolutions. That's going to help us save gas. It's going to give us more time on scene.
6044 should arrive on scene first, and we'll be about 15, 20 minutes behind. They're going to deliver the flight surgeon and the corpsman so that they can assess the situation.
So after a couple hours of coordination in the Kodiak hangar, prepping the cabin for the equipment that we're taking out there, the plan is for my aircraft to head out first. We got the second H-60 helicopter. They're just a few minutes behind us.
All right, we're about 6 minutes behind them on the taxi. Coming up about 100 feet. Clear on the right, coming right. Right. Should be about 191 miles.
Well, the Bering Sea and the Gulf of Alaska are notorious for being big, being dangerous. And when a 600-foot vessel reports that they've hit a wave big enough to injure their crew members who are probably seasoned mariners and been underway for a large portion of their life, we know the seas have gotten really big out there.
1244, just wanted to know if you guys had figured out where the preparations were being made for the hoist.
They're behind the superstructure.
Roger, thanks, guys.
So the C-130 is out ahead of us, talking to the vessel and doing a lot of the briefing items, talking to the crew members, seeing what the on-scene conditions are, and essentially setting the scene up for a successful hoist.
We got them inside off the nest. Yeah, those towers are pretty big. Yeah. So are the antennas on the superstructure then?
As the first helicopter on scene, one of the big concerns right now that I have is our on-scene time. I've briefed my swimmers and I've briefed the flight surgeons that they've got about 20 to 30 minutes total to get this entire mission done before we have to point the aircraft back to Kodiak and start heading home.
Zach, once we put Eli down, how much time are you going to need to get Doc in the basket?
I can have him ready to go before I even put him down.
The faster we can get these guys going, the better. Roger, we count the gallons.
As we're evaluating the ship, we noticed a really big area in front of the superstructure. Vince Jansen and myself talked about how we could use that area. It was a good open area.
What do your gut say, Bill? I would say for the forward area, I can at least, have them go down to it and see what they think about transiting to there with the patient. I see a ladder right here, and that does not look like fun with a survivor, but at least that would get you guys down there.
Right. Ready for a direct deployment of the swimmer to the boat.
Roger.
Swimmer's going down. Rescue checklist complete. Ready for a direct deployment of the swimmer to the boat.
Roger. And check swimmer.
About a 600-foot freighter. They've apparently been hit by a large wave. There's 3 injured crew members. The status of the crew members is a little bit unknown, but we know that there's some compound fractures and there's a possible head injury.
Swimmer's going down. 420.
Clear left.
Swimmer's swinging pretty good. Contain him. Easy forward. Easy forward.
Both swinging quite a bit.
Swimmer's on deck. Swimmer's away. Swimmer's okay.
First hoist was a little hairy. The boat was moving pretty fast and trying to keep up with the movement of the boat and dropping the swimmer down. Then dropped the flight surgeon down after that. And I probably scared him a little bit being that high off the boat.
Baskets outside cabin door.
Looks good right there.
Going down.
The wind was trying to push me and I had the bag, and that was the first time I was thinking, oh, this is a little scary. It was a little bit different. I don't do this every day. And so hoisted down 50 feet. That was the farthest or the longest I've been hoisted down.
Baskets on deck. Traffic.
100 feet.
And helicopter number 2 is now ready.
Once the first aircraft got everything delivered down, we moved in, we put down 2 litters and our rescue swimmer in the basket to that area for the bridge.
And swimmer is out the cabin door. Swimmer's going outside cabin door for load check. Roger. Location complete. Swimmer's on his way down. Roger.
We had a good game plan to begin with because we got to watch the other crew do it, and there was already a swimmer on deck, so he could help our swimmer out.
All position. And swimmer is on deck. Disconnect.
Conservatively, you guys have about 20 minutes over.
We had a very small window of time to get them back up and to be able to get back with fuel. They took me to the first person, who was probably the most injured one, then went on to the second person. Same thing, went in there, multiple injuries. They had him splinted very well. Went and saw the third survivor after that, but they had treated him well with what they had. Without question, it was the crew that really helped these folks out more than anything else.
Swimmer 6044. Looking at fuel, and we only got like 400 pounds left. So we need to start hoisting over.
I found the doc. He was still putting the IVs in. Once I got my eyes on the patient, he was in a much more critical state than I had expected. Compound fracture to his left leg. His right arm was broken. He had some bleeding out of his ears and nose. So we were just keeping an eye on his blood pressure, SpO2, anything like that. We put the patient in a C-collar and then put him on the backboard.
He's showing the road. Yeah, starting to run out of time. Looks like he's getting us the patient right now. Looks like you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
The gentleman with the most severe injuries and the head injury, he's going to come up first into my helicopter, and we're going to get him back to Kodiak as soon as we can.
Easy ride. Paratechnic load. Taking load. Litter is clear of the vessel.
He got about halfway up to the cabin, and I realized his face was definitely pretty beat up, and he took a bad fall.
Keep a handhold on him.
I got him, sir. Bringing litter inside cabin.
I've never had a case where somebody was this badly hurt, so I knew how to get it done as fast as I could.
And sending hoisted back down.
Ready.
After we got the patient in the helicopter, we had Doc jump in the basket so he could get hoisted in the helo.
Basket clear of the vessel, put him back in my 30s.
After Doc got in the helo, they kept the basket attached, sent it back down to me.
Bring your basket inside cabin.
We got one swimmer, one doc, and one survivor. I think that's it for us. If you get the trail line, we'll get out of here.
We're at minimum fuel at this point. We've got to head back to Kodiak. And obviously I'm thinking about the other helicopter and what their fuel state is.
They got all their people? Got them all? Yep. Roger. We're moving right in.
My goal was just to keep the fuel situation off of the mind of the pilot and the flight mechanic, so they can concentrate on the hoist and evolution and not worry about gas. So as soon as we moved in, we were able to pick up 1 litter, brought that litter up into the cabin.
3 liter inside cabin. Driver's over. And hook's going down. Got you close, man. Yeah.
The first guy we picked up had a pretty bad leg injury. He was definitely in pain, so I wanted to make sure that I kept his leg somewhere that the corpsman could actually work on him if need be.
This is good. Everything's load. Second load. Litter is on its way up. And hold.
Obviously, when you're in a hoist and you're looking at the fuel that closely, it's a pretty major concern for you, knowing that there's not any other spots to land for 200 miles.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to bring that basket in. Yeah, can we do that?
How we normally hoist a corpsman is with a basket because they're not harness qualified. I realized there was no room for the basket, so we had to do a MADPU pickup of the swimmer and the corpsman.
All right, take the load. Taking the load. Moving survivor, clear deck, clear move back left 30. Control the swing a little bit. Get a few float out. How's our survivor doing?
Open fracture of his left leg, probably several facial fractures. He may have a chance to save that leg too, because he's got some good circulation in his feet. So that's good.
You know, on approaching the Kodiak, we can already see that the ambulances, they're already on deck waiting for us, and which is a really comforting feeling, knowing that we're going to be able to transfer the survivor as fast as possible to you know, a higher level of care.
In a case like this, you want to get them out of that helicopter as quickly as possible. The air ambulance is there. They know what they're doing, and they pretty much take over.
Stand by, 1 clear.
1, 2, 3 up. You clear?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're golden.
Okay. 1, 2, 3
the rest.
It's really cool to be a part of a mission that has this many moving parts. You know, we've got C-130s, the H-60s, we've got civilian air ambulance services, we've got the fire department that's out here helping us transport the survivors.
1, 2, 3. Okay, right out.
It's been pretty good. The guys on the ship, the crew on the ship did a great job of doing what they could to help him. Kudos for those guys. I mean, for not having medical skills, they improvised and came up with splints and did a pretty good job.